Well, it's that time of the show. Segment I love. It's the Daily Three. That's three questions, 3 minutes each. Take it away, Sam.
I got a good Gophers one for you, Ron. A lot of
Okay.
people nationally don't know this name. John Michael Schmitz. I call him
Yep.
JMS for short. Mel Kiper Jr. We all know Mel Kiper. He ranked John Michael Schmitz as the top center in college football, number one on his big board in next year's draft. So my question to you, Ron, and Schmitz was right up there with Tyler Linderbaum in the rankings last year. Do you think that John Michael Schmitz could be the next first round pick for the Gophers?
Oh, yeah. So Tyler Linderbaum, I remember he was in the late 20s, like 24, 25. The reason I know that is because I thought the Vikings could have took him with their pick. And then, of course, they traded back and got Lewis Seen. But I thought if the Vikings had dropped back to 20, 21, 22, that was kind of how I kept doing it. Even when we did our mocks, trading with the Steelers, because we knew the Steelers wanted Kenny Pickett. I said that right away in our mock draft. And we didn't know. I speculated, but, it seemed like an easy fit. He's in Pitt. And then Vikings trade back and get Tyler Linderbaum. Well, if you think about it now, John Michael Schmitz probably can go in that same spot. And unless the Vikings win the Super Bowl, they're going to be probably in that top 25 again, maybe top 20 if they have an early exit or don't make the play. They're right in that fringe again. And I know a lot of fans feel like, look, if you're going to miss the playoffs by one game, just go ahead and lose 4 or 5 more so we can get a top 10 pick. Well, if you are competitive and you build that confidence in the team, you can see what you have, and then you get a 20 to 25 draft pick, probably John Michael Schmitz probably there. He could be a Viking starting center. If you think about Bradbury, not being extended, we don't know what you get out of him. I mean, unless Kevin O'Connell turns into a great center, could be a change of voice. Yeah, John Michael Schmitz can and will be the next first-round pick for the Gophers. He came back. A lot of people thought he was going to leave, but he came back to be a part of something great with Brian Callahan. And I think that's the big key in this. He is solid. I've watched him for the last couple of years. You look at Mo Ibrahim, you look at all these running backs, Bucky Irving. He cleared the way on a lot of that stuff. And he also, he moves in space well because the Gophers do run an RPO style offense. So yeah, he's what a lot of teams are looking for. A guy that can move, but also a big body that can anchor that middle and keep the quarterback clean.
Do you know off the top of your head, is he a Minnesota native? Is he from like outstate Minnesota, or did they recruit him from somewhere?
I think he is from Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken, but I do know he's extremely smart. Like I know Flex said he's like getting his doctorate or something. He's going to be a doctor one day. So he's extremely smart kid as well. And so that's going to vote well for him if he does decide to go to the NFL, and that is where he wants to pursue. There's a kid that's extremely smart.
Okay, we got this is a look ahead to the future right here. John Michael Schmitz attended Homewood Flossmoor High School in Flossmoor, Illinois. Their nickname, the Vikings.
Oh, there you go.
Number two, on a serious note, Deshaun Watson has a 24th accuser come forward in the civil suits, which again is leading to the question: how many games is he actually going to play this year? What kind of punishment is he facing from the NFL potentially? Ron, what's your outlook on this Deshaun Watson situation?
Well, yeah, I'm always let it play on the courts thing. I stay out of police matters just because you just don't know. You never really know. I never like to say somebody's guilty. I never like to say somebody's innocent. The one thing I'll say is a lot of this being civil, because I've seen some of the plaintiffs say they want it in front of a jury because they really want, they don't want a judge to decide. They want the emotions of people to hear their story. I haven't seen anybody like, it hasn't been like a brutal or anything. It's been more perverted type stuff, like exposing themselves, doing stuff in front of them, whatever. When the NFL takes a look at that, and if you think about what's going to happen, I mean, it's wrong. If it's true, it's wrong. It's perverted. That's a business where you have to have a lot of trust when you're massaging somebody in their house, when you're supposed to help somebody get healthy. So depending on how many of these suits are real and some are just, money grabs, we don't know and that's the problem when it's so many. You have to weed through the bad to get to the right ones, or the wrong. I don't even know what word to use for that, but you have to weed through some to get to the ones that are real. Or is all of them. I mean, if it's all of them, that's crazy. He plays 0 games. But yeah, I think it's going to be up to that because it is a civil. It's something that they're trying to go to court and and figure it out. But depending on how long these take, that's the other problem. I mean, we're 99, 98, 97 days away from the season, and they're just getting these like plaintiffs' documents into the courts now. This might go into the season, and I don't know if the NFL can let him even on the field, knowing that he's going through these civil suits. And so that's going to be the big one. That's going to be the big problem with this, because a lot of people thought it was just all a hoax by Houston's, like, crazy black market, whatever, trying to control him not leaving Houston, or lowering his trade value. So that, who knows, or not lowering his trade value, but making him untradeable, so that nobody would want him and he'd have to play for them. Who knows what's going on? But at the end of the day, I have no answer. But I guess if these are true, he plays no games this year. Like, he's going to get suspended for the season, and then the Browns just wasted. I don't know if there's something in this contract saying if he's found guilty of X amount, we don't have to pay you anything. So we'll see where that goes.
No, I read about this too. The contract is set up that if he doesn't play any games this year, he only loses $1 million of the $230 million. Wow. They created it so that all the money is backloaded, so that it is actually very good for Watson if he doesn't play. But I think that commissioner's exempt list probably to start the year. And I'm with you. I don't think he plays any games. I think that the NFL comes down with a strict punishment. There probably will be an appeal process. Maybe the punishment gets reduced a little bit, but they're going to set the bar pretty high, I think, and draw a line in the sand on this one. Last one, some fighting words in the NBA. The Nuggets president, Josh Kroenke, came out and said that the Timberwolves were desperate when they offered Tim Connolly a $40 million deal to become their new president of basketball operations. Mm-hmm. Is this leading to a potential division rivalry between the Wolves and the Nuggets now that the Wolves have nabbed their big executive?
No, that's just somebody who wants their binky. Like, that's just somebody bitter, somebody trying to create something there, just making a comment. If they don't feel a certain way about a certain candidate, or feeling like, hey, because what happens is now when executives are getting this money, it puts the rest on notice, and so now as an agent or whatever, you're like, oh, whoa, that people can pay, or that's what people are willing to offer. But I've always been told this, like in the NFL draft and the NBA draft, if there's a guy you want, go get him. Like, don't worry about like, well, they have him listed at 30. We shouldn't draft him at 20 or 15, because then people always say, oh, that was a reach. That was a reach pick. And then you look back and you're like, man, that was actually smart. That was actually a good pick. So if you want your guy, go get him. Like, the money or the way you get him, like, that'll all come back. Like, you'll get that back over time. Like, but you will never get back that person. That's one thing you can never get. You can never go back in time and get that. It's gone. Once it's gone, and I can't remember who he interviewed, and it might be coming up, but he said that, there's one thing you can't get back, and that's time. Time is something you can never get back. So you can't go back and say, oh, I wish we had got this guy as our executive. Man, look how good he is now in the front office. That's where people get caught up in that. When you look at coaches and you think about coaches like Mike Tomlin and some of these former Vikings coaches that went on and were great, people always look back, I wish we had got Mike Tomlin. He was good. We should have offered him an assistant head coach job to keep him here so that he could be the next coach in waiting, and blah, blah. There's all that kind of, Tony Dungy, same thing. He's with Denny Green, and then he leaves and goes to the Bucks. I wish we had made Tony Dungy the head coach in waiting. Like, there's so many things where people say that. Hey, if there's a guy you want, like the Patriots tried to do with Josh McDaniels, they kept offering him money to be the head coach and wait, he could finally, he's like, all right, look, Belichick's never going to retire. I can't sit here forever. I'm out of here. I'm going to Vegas. That's where I see it. Like, if there's a guy you want, that's why I see with execs. Like, that's just, I don't think there's a rivalry there. Because it's not players. Like, if it was Draymond Green or something, saying something about the Timberwolves, or, if the Timberwolves make a trade and, the actual players, like Donovan Mitchell says something, maybe the Jazz, he becomes a rival with the Jazz. But yeah, until the D'Angelo Russell deal happens or something happens, and then people say, that was a reach to get rid of D'Lo. That was stupid on the Timberwolves' part. And the player says that, then you might have some players but front office, players aren't paying attention to that stuff.
Yeah, Tim Connolly, by all accounts, seems like a great dude, well-trusted executive. People love him. Nuggets loved him. My only question about this was the timing. Like usually you make a big swing for a basketball executive when you are rebuilding your team. You're building the team up. The Timberwolves have already built the team. I mean, they don't need him to come in and shake things up. They just need him to come in and make a couple of tweaks, decide what to do with D'Lo, and then decide how to draft and how to surround Cat and Edwards with talent. It's not like he's got a huge job on his hands here. So this is just this is the new ownership saying we want to have the best of the best at every position, whether it's executive, whether it's broadcasting, whether it's head coach, whether it's, ticket salesman. They really do want to make this like a luxury organization as well as they can in the state of Minnesota.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we'll see. I think it'll be seen this year of what happens in the front office with the players off the court.